What's going on, everybody? My name is Vaughn, and you're now tuned into Global Everything Films. And first and foremost, I want to thank all y'all for tuning in here with me. Now, the reason you probably clicked on this video because you're saying 10 ways to improve your credit score. That's right, I'm trying to help y'all improve your credit score. Now, I don't want it to sound like no infomercial or nothing, because it ain't. You know what I'm saying? I just doing this out the kindness of my heart because I'm 28 years old. And I've been working on and building my credit since I was about 16, 17, and you know, grandma's co-signed for my first car loan. So ever since then, one thing I've tried to do, what's gonna lead me to the first tip, is pay my bills on time. Cause you know, like I said, grandma co-signed for my first car, which helped me get my first car at a good interest rate. And I had to pay her on time. So me, by doing that, it taught me responsibility. So like I said, the first tip is to pay your bills on time. I cannot stress that enough. That's gonna help a lot of you with little to no credit begin to establish credit over time by how good you good with the credit that you got. You know, whether it's your electricity bill, your phone bill, pause. I do want to say a misconception a lot of people think is because they get a phone bill in their name, that's going to help their credit. That is false. Phone bills does not help your credit, but it can hurt your credit if you default on your payments over time. But good rule of thumb is just to pay all your bills on time. You know, if you got to put a reminder in your phone when certain bills due, do that. Whatever you got to do. I know bills such as credit cards, student loans, mortgages, rent, all that stuff you want to pay on time. Not only because it will help and build your credit, but you don't want all kinds of late fees because you want to be 35, 36, 37 days late. So just pay your bills on time. Tip number 2, establish different forms of credit. Now, in the beginning I mentioned having a car note. You might have no credit cards, but one thing to remember is it's good to take on other credits that you can handle along with your student loans, along with your car notes, such as a credit card. You can start out with a small credit card and just use it for things you need anyway. Your gas, your groceries, stuff like that. If you want to go out to eat every now and then, but you know you can immediately pay that stuff off, just get those things along with your student loan and your mortgages or your rent or whatever you got going on. Just have that revolving credit that comes around every 30 days that you have to pay. So different forms of credit. It shows the lenders that you are very responsible with money. You can manage different forms of credit at the same time. Tip number 3, credit card utilization. Now a lot of y'all that just starting out probably don't really know what that is. It took me a while to kind of get a grasp of what that really meant, but I'm gonna tell y'all what it means. Now, let's say you starting off with little to no credit, and you only have one credit card, and the max out balance might be $1,000. So you go in, let's say Walmart, buy a bunch of stuff, and it totals to $998. Well, you already used about 98% of your credit card utilization. You don't want to do that. You want to keep that credit card utilization to a very minimum. Now, let's say you have different credit cards. One max out balance might be $1,000, the other might be $2,000, the other might be $5,000. Based on all your different credit cards, the total max out balance before you max out on all your credit cards is, let's say, $10,000. So you go in that same store and you spend that $998. You probably only use about, let's say, 8% of your credit card utilization. That's still good, even though you use the same amount of money as person A. That's still good. Now, you don't want to use the kind of money that you can't pay back, you know, because a lot of us got a whole lot of credit card utilization, but we don't have nowhere near that amount in our bank account. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, if you have a whole lot more credit to utilize, you can use more compared to somebody who only has a little bit. So even still, just keep your credit card utilization low as possible. Tip number 4, keep your hard inquiries low. Now, this is one I struggle with a little bit. Let me say this. By the time I was on my second car, I went to Nissan Auto and I got them to run my credit. I didn't really know what my credit score was at the time, but I got them to run my credit. But I didn't get a car there. So that was a hard inquiry. My credit score took a hard hit based on that hard inquiry, even though I didn't get the car. I wouldn't be mad if I got the car, but I didn't get a car till a little later at a different dealership. And again, they ran my credit with a hard inquiry. So What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying don't have any hard inquiries, but you want to make sure you get hard inquiries for stuff that you're really going to get. Don't go to different dealerships getting your credit ran if you don't plan on getting a car there. So, like I said, keep your hard inquiries low. Some places will run your credit and it's soft inquiries. It don't really hurt your score, maybe a couple points. But when you go to these dealerships, these rental places, they run your credit. They pull everything and it hits your credit score drastically. So keep your hard inquiries low. Tip number 5, I cannot stress this enough. Monitor your credit score regularly. How can you know what's going on with your credit score? How could you try to fix something if you don't know what's going on with it? Now you probably wonder, how can I do that? Well, an app I got on my phone is creditkarma.com. I don't know how I got introduced to this app. Maybe I was looking online one day and I seen something, but this app has helped me a whole lot. The number one thing I like about this app, it's free. You could download it at the Play Store if you got an Android iPhone, and like I said, it's free. And you can look on there and see what's helping your credit score. You can look on there and see what's hurting your credit score just by looking at that app. Now, I'm not saying it's all the way 100% accurate, but it's close enough. So, like I said, just monitor regularly. You can check it weekly, monthly, daily. Now, what you don't want to do is become obsessed with checking your credit score. Just check it like at least once a month. I would say at least once a month. Just make sure you don't have no new credit cards popping up in your name or nothing like that. If you do find a negative, one thing I did, I had a Chase account that was in my name that I never took out a loan or nothing for Chase. So what I did is I went to myfreecreditreport.com and I print out a copy of my credit score, and it also allows me to dispute anything that doesn't seem legit. Now, once you send an email to these different companies, if they don't respond within 30 days, usually 9 times out of 10, it automatically gets removed from your credit. So like I said, I had this Chase account in my name, but I never had a Chase account. So I went on there, I disputed the negative claim, and it got removed within 30 days because they never respond. What they gonna say? So that can help you out a whole lot. Dispute any negative and dispute stuff that's not right. Tip number 6, get credit cards that help you. Now, by that I mean get ones with incentives. Now, one thing I can say, I did have a lot of credit cards at first when I was young. Going in Macy's, 5% off if you buy such and such. Going in JCPenney's, this incentive, that incentive. One thing I don't like about those store credit cards is you can't use them everywhere. You can only use it if you go to JCPenney's, you go to Macy's, you go to Saks. I don't really like those credit cards. Now, if you plan on going to those stores forever, it's cool to get them, possibly, but like I said, I don't like those credit cards. I like to get credit cards that I can use everywhere, like such as Bank of America. They got 3% back if you buy groceries, 2% back if you buy gas, 1% back on everything else. I think I said that right. It's something like that, but it got like a reward system. You also got different credit cards that gets you points on flight mileage, stuff like that. You want to get stuff like that can help you. You already gonna buy groceries, you already gonna buy gas, so why not get points back and cash back for buying things that you already gonna buy anyway. Tip number 7, try to see if you can get somebody with already good established credit to add you to their accounts. Now, one thing I didn't know starting off is the more accounts that you have in your name, the better it will help your credit score. I didn't know that. So let's say you only have 1 account, or maybe 2 accounts in your name. But if you get added to a couple people with good credit score, let's say your grandma, your mom, your dad, and they got good credit score, they pay everything on time, all that good stuff, and you get them to add you to their account as a primary user, that will help your credit score dramatically. So think about that. Like some people won't add you to their account. Some people might, it depends on how you act. Just by them adding you to the account, it seems like you're a user. And also, how long you have had established credit plays a huge part in your credit score. So, like say, grandma, she might have had this Bank of America credit card for 20 years. And she adds you to her account, let's say today. So now you have 1 account that you have had for 20 years. Even though you haven't really had it for 20 years, she adds you to that account, and that will boost your credit score. Tip number 8, never, ever pay the minimum. I cannot stress that enough. Now, a lot of y'all, might go in the store and make a $100 purchase. And then when you get your credit card, the minimum balance might be $25. You don't want to pay that. A lot of times on that billing report, you might see how much you'll pay if you pay the minimum for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. It's usually in there. I don't really read everything that's on there, but that I can usually clearly see. And it'll tell you how much you'll pay over time. So you don't want to end up paying $200, $300, $400 for a $100 purchase just because you decided to pay the minimum every time your bill was due. You don't want to do that. At least try to pay double. If not, try to get 2 payments paid within that billing cycle. That helps a lot. Tip number 9, which I pretty much said previously on the last tips, is use your credit cards wisely. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of college students, people fresh out of high school, they don't really get trained on the proper knowledge of credit card usage and financial usage, all that stuff. So they pretty much just think it's free money, and they just go in there and swipe, 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 and then next thing they know, they're in all kinds of debt because nobody ever taught them these things. If you get a bill or credit card in your name, this is not free money. This is stuff you gotta pay back. So you're pretty much, it's a loan. You know, it's pretty much like somebody asking you to borrow $20, you know, and they got bad credit. They got companies that really can't trust them with their money, so why should you trust them? You probably not gonna get that money back ever. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, be smart. Use your credit cards wisely. Tip number 10, take advantage of pre-approved credit cards. Now, being that I got good credit, good established credit, I get a lot of mail in the mail that says you have been pre-approved for this credit card. Now, I don't usually accept it if it doesn't make sense, but one thing I can say, like I said previously, hard inquiries hurt your credit score. So I don't really want any unnecessary hard inquiries, but I know, like I said previously also, the more total accounts you get can help you. So like I said, if I say the credit union sends me a pre-approved credit card in my name and all I have to do is accept, they already soft inquiry my accounts or my credit, so I accept it, and now that's another account added to me that I didn't even have to get them to run my credit for. They just pre-approved me for it and I accepted it. Now let's say I got 13 total accounts, that helps my credit score. So the more total accounts you have. Tip number 11, this is important. Do not close any accounts. Do not close any accounts. Now, like I said, when I was about 16, 17, maybe a little older than that, I might have got me a JCPenney's card, a Macy's card. That's the Macy's card right there, if y'all can see that. That's the JCPenney's card, if you can see that. Now, I don't use those cards anymore. But one thing I didn't do is close them. They're still open. So remember I said the more total accounts you have in your name helps your credit score. So there's still a good standing accounts that I have, and they're still active. So they are helping my credit score. Now, one thing that you might stop doing is using those cards, and in the future they might get closed automatically by the lenders because they see you not really using them. So one good practice is, let's say once a month or once every 6 months, is use those. Like I say, you can find a good gift for your significant other out of JCPenney's or Macy's. So one thing I might do is buy a Valentine's Day gift, buy a Mother's Day gift, you know, for my child's mother, you know, once a year, just to keep those accounts active, if that makes sense to y'all. So like I said, don't close any accounts. Leave them open, and definitely leave them in good standing. And how do you leave them in good standing? You pay your bills on time and you use them. Maybe not every day, maybe not once a month, but use them like at least 2-3 times a year, just so they can stay within good standing. And also, it helps your credit score the longer you have accounts open. So whether you have an account that was open for 10 years or 3 years or 2 years, the longer you have accounts open, the more it helps your credit score over time. So like I said in the beginning, my name is Vaughn, and I hope those tips help y'all. If y'all need me to go in depth or explain anything in further detail more than I already did, then just leave a comment. So like I said, those were 10 tips to help y'all improve y'all credit score. I hope those tips help y'all a whole lot. Thank you for tuning in.